potent advice, and inspiration from real self-made millionaires. Welcome to The Eventual Millionaire with your host, Jaime Masters.
Welcome to Eventual Millionaire. I'm Jaime Masters, and today on the show we have Justin Ledford. Now, he wrote a book called Visions to the Top. You can actually check it out at visionstothetop.com. He also did Cutco. He's got a construction company, all sorts of crazy fun stuff. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me, Jaime. I'm excited to be here.
So I was really excited when I was reading about your information because one of the things, and my listeners, if they know me, know this, one of the things that kept coming up over and over and over again at the beginning of all these millionaire interviews was visualization. And I thought it was kind of cheesy when I first started, and now I do it all the time. And that's sort of what your book is all about. So can you sort of give us the down low of what it is?
Sure. Visualization is an elite practice that some of the top performers in the industry, in all industries, use today. I mean, it's nothing new, but people for some reason are just now finding out about it. Tony Robbins, I first learned about it at his seminar, and I went through a visualization experience while there. And, you know, we paid good money to be there. And that was like an eye opener for me. The feelings I felt, the vibrations I felt. And there's a lot of science behind it. We can get into that. I'm happy to do that. But, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey, Michael Phelps, they all swear by this practice. So if they're doing it, you know, there's got to be some good to it.
I agree so much. And that was the thing. I'm a data girl. So I kept hearing it over and over again. And I was like, I know goal setting's good, but I didn't realize that the feeling of because I had issues with actually feeling feelings anyway. So I was like, okay, if we actually try and feel the feeling that it's going to be like, right? That's sort of the whole point of visualization. Because I do this every single day now, and I totally highly recommend it to everybody. But I know everybody listening is kind of going, wait a minute, what is this supposed to do for me? So explain sort of what the science is behind it and the benefit of why even bother.
For sure. So a long time ago, there were some Russian scientists, and this is just one study. There's 4 groups of athletes, actually swimmers. And what they did is they said, okay, group 1, we want you to just do physical training. That's it. Group 2, we want you to do 75% physical training, 25% mental training or visualization. Group 3, 50-50. So 50% physical training, 50% mental visualization. And of course, group 4, 25% physical training and 75% mental visualization. So let me ask you, Jaime, which group do you think ended up performing the best?
You would assume the one that did all exercise, like hardcore physical stuff. But
yeah, that's what you would assume, but it's actually not. It's group 4. The scientists, they found that group 4 performed the best in the Olympics. And in fact, the U.S. Committee of Olympic, whatever they're called, they were so impressed that they decided to increase their full-time staff of psychologists. They have over a dozen now. And it's the same with other nations across the world. You know, that's just one study. There's also studies where, I think it was Yale or Harvard or Princeton, I'm not exactly sure which one, but they got 3 groups of athletes. And the first group they got just to shoot the ball and practice on their basketball, just shooting for X amount of time. Group 2, they just got them to not do anything at all. And group 3, they got them just to visualize, no practice. And you would think, you know, obviously the group that just practiced did the absolute best at the end. And yes, they did. Their performance did increase. The one who did no practice, no visualization, their performance didn't go anywhere. The ones who did visualization outperformed the ones who even practiced.
Why is that though? Why is it a confidence thing? Is it like, oh, just because I saw it in my mind's eye, I can now do it? Where does that come in?
You know, from what I've come to realize and from my studies is visualization. Okay, so we have our conscious mind and then we have our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is actually in control of everything. Like think of an iceberg. On top of the ocean, you see a little mountain, but underneath the ocean, you have this vast, deep mountain. And that's actually also known as your subconscious if we're talking metaphorically. And what happens is when we do these visualization practices, we actually rewire our neurons. And there's like some people use NLP. And in a little bit, I'd like to go over the 5 phases of visualizations that I've crafted to share with your audience how you can actually use visualization in an everyday scenario for whether it be your health, for your life, your marriage. I use it personally for all of them and my business.
See, and everybody's going, okay, if we can get things faster and easier, we're all in. But that being said, when you're looking, how much do you have to do it? Do you have to do it right? Like, this is the thing where we don't know what's in our subconscious, right? So a lot of people are like, yeah, I know it exists, but how much weight should we put on it? And then what do we do with that? Is it something that we can actually like change and shift our subconscious thought? I mean, I know a lot of people talk about changing your beliefs, but is that the same thing as visualization? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I was actually pulling some weeds out of my garden the other day with my brother, and I was having this conversation with him. We were using our hands, we were using these little tools, and I was just pulling them out like with my fingers. And he's like, no, dude, you got to get up in there and just like rip it out. So I saw his technique. It was like amazing. He was just weed after weed. And I said to him, when you do visualization, you're actually reprogramming the weak thoughts that we have, the doubts, the limiting beliefs that we have in our mind. I believe, and according to so many other articles and studies, visualization is one of the best ways for somebody to actually if we want to change the fruits, we have to change the roots. And that's what visualization does.
See, and that's it. To me, I've been told a lot about like change your belief and blah, blah, blah. And it's great for a short thing, right? You're like, oh, okay, great. And then the beliefs come up and you forget. So to me, the process and the consistency of doing like with meditating and visualizing over and over and over again has changed my brain in general. I don't know exactly what it's doing up there, but I'm all in. So tell me how to actually do it with your 5 steps, because I have 1,000 questions probably on that also.
That's totally cool with me. So, the 5 phases of visualization are pretty simple. You start with just inward breathing, and so you've heard of Amy Cuddy, right? On the TED Talk on whenever you stand in power poses, what it does for you.
Oh, I have seen that one, but explain it to everyone just in case they haven't.
Okay, well, I will get to that on stage 4 of the 5 phases of, or stage 3. So you start with inward breathing. You just go into a quiet place. Your eyes are closed. You're sitting with no distractions.
Do you have to be sitting, or can you be laying down? I'll be interrupting you apparently through this whole thing, so go ahead.
Totally cool. You can actually be sitting. You can be laying down. What is that?
How's my dog? Oh, great.
It's cool. My dog will probably come in here too. I personally like to sit, spine erect, and I also like to stand in a power pose. I'll get more into that in a second. Now, you just want to get very relaxed. You take deep, calm, inward breaths. I like to breathe through my nose and exhale out of my mouth like I'm fogging a mirror. When you do it like that, you get calm fast. So inward breath, or also known as being, is the first phase. The whole intention is for you to just get calm and relaxed. Do that as long as you like. You can do it for 30 seconds. You can do it for a minute. You can do it for 2 minutes. I only do it for like a minute or so.
Is there like a goal on how calm I have to be in order to move on to step 2 or phase 2?
No, just feel relaxed.
Okay.
That's it. And number 2, you go to past visions. Now, this is the second stage of the visualization technique that I've put together. I've been doing this for 11 years, and all my dreams and all the things I've ever wanted have, I don't know what you want to call it, manifested or come into my life.
We'll go over that after, because I want the before and the after. Like, I wanted this, then I got this. Okay, after we do the 5. Okay.
You got it. So past visions, your eyes are still closed. You start to visually and you start to visually see and you start to feel moments of your past accomplishments. So you want to run through several happy, positive moments from your past. You want to continue your breathing that we talked about in phase 1. Now, these moments, they can be literally anything that brought you joy, Jaime. They can, if you have kids, that moment when you saw them hit a home run, or when you hit a home run, the first time you rode your bike, feeling your hands on the handlebar, hearing your parents clap for you, a fun adventure that you went through as a kid or as a young adult, a passionate moment, like a real passionate moment that you had with your spouse, something from your past, and you flow through them. Some people can see when their eyes are closed and they can actually tap into visualization. Some people can't see because it is a muscle, but they can feel. It should be a multi-sensory endeavor. Now, the thing about it is it doesn't matter if you do one or the other, but once you get good at it, you'll start to be able to do both. And that's where the real power begins, in my opinion. So in past visions, stage 2, you're focused on all the successes that you had in the past. And I can literally go to my moment of my birth, my mom holding me in her hands. I can feel her love.
Oh, like that's what you're
From,
visualizing. Okay, so you
yeah.
don't remember it, but you're like imagining from pictures and stuff like that of what that would have felt like, or no?
I'm there. Like it's a muscle. The more you do it, when I first started this, I sucked at it. But the more that you do it, it's like a muscle. It's a mental muscle.
Yeah.
And now I can literally go to the moment I was born, and then I go to my first time riding in a car with my grandma, and I could hear, I'm just a traveling man, and the windows were down. And then I go to my first time riding a bike, and then I go to my
like
first
sequence.
and then I go to my first home run and me running around the base, and I feel my foot stepping on first base and then home plate. And then I see myself hitting the game winning championship thing at baseball, and then me walking across the stage. And then, let's see, several other things that happened throughout my past. So that's what you want to do. But most importantly, you want to tap into positive emotions.
Okay.
Tap into multiple senses, what you heard at that moment, what you felt at that moment, and go there. And then we move on to, and the reason we're doing this, let me explain like the science behind it.
Yep.
The reason we're doing this is because we're literally priming our mind. You can't just jump into visualization like, okay, I close my eyes and I see my day and I see my week and I see my year. You can't do that if your mind is fogged. People are hungry. They got a million things on their to-do list. You cannot get into a calm state of future visions, which is the third step, if you're not primed and ready.
Okay, I have questions on step 2 still. So number 1, how long should we be doing that piece? Like, and how many moments? Does it matter? Like, what types of emotions? Does it have to be all like happy, or is it accomplishment, or does that matter?
So that's a really great question. And what I do is I get on YouTube. I put my phone on and I'll be standing there, and I'll be standing in a power pose, and I'll have Gladiator, just the theme song on. It's like 8 minutes. And I'll be going through my past visions while that's playing. There's no words to it at all. And my hairs will stick up off my skin during different parts of the song, and I actually feel it. And so it might last 2 minutes, it might last 5 minutes, but for me, past visions is my favorite. I've literally, the song will end, and I'll open one eye, and I'll use one finger to like start the track over, because like I'm really feeling
like it's so
joy from my past. We forget about all the accomplishments we've had in our life. We forget about all the good that's happened in our life. And it's good to tap into gratitude. It's a powerful emotion. Yeah. So that actually primes the mind. And for me, sometimes past visions, when I first started, it only lasted 2-3 minutes, but now past visions, because I wake up early for this. Like I love this stuff. It might last 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
What do you suggest for somebody? Because I know I've told lots of my clients to start meditating, and then they go, I can literally have like a second or a couple seconds of focused attention, and then my ADD takes over and I go somewhere else. So what's hard, and again, it's a muscle, I totally understand, but what do you suggest for people to do when, even if they wrote out their past accomplishments so that they could sort of bring it up a little bit better, their mind wanders, and then 10 minutes later they're like, oh shoot, I just thought of 1,000 other things instead of the thing that I was supposed to.
Yeah. So if you're, y'all can go to visionstothetop.com, and I actually have that answer right there, and you can just download it. But also, just to like give you like a little bit more on top of that, you can get a chime. You can download a chime on your phone on like the App Store, like a Tibetan chime, and just focus on that breathing in your nose and exhaling as if you're fogging the mirror up. That is the best way to calm your mind. Because if you just go, and you're going to either fall back asleep, and if you're laying in bed trying to do it, for me, I fall back asleep like every single time. So I have to get up out of my bed, put some water on my face, I do my prayer, and then I do my visualization or my meditation.
See, at the beginning, I used to lay down, and then I had small children. I'd literally fall asleep every single time. And now, like, I have a teepee in my closet. I know this is weird, but it's got my meditation bench and my singing bowl and all sorts of crazy nutso thing, lights and all sorts of stuff. But I know I told you, but it's so awesome. I'm like a little kid. It's not because I'm, contacting the gods or anything. It's because I just love it. But that singing bowl and stuff like that does make a huge difference. And like you said, you get better and better and better. Because I used to think that I just sucked at it. And I was like, oh, I fell asleep every time. You're not supposed to fall asleep. Well, yeah, don't lay down, silly. Like, okay, great. I won't lay down. It's so simple when you actually think of it. But as entrepreneurs, we sort of push away from that because our brains are constant and we just assume we cannot do it. But I love what you're saying.
Yeah. So what happens as an entrepreneur, I've built multiple $1 million businesses, and I've done it the hard way, just grinding it out, busting my butt, late nights. I work harder than anyone, but you can only grind a gear so long before it needs a break, before you have to replace it. And that's the thing, what visualization, the meditation does. You can do a little bitty maintenance every single morning, and you're like putting that fluid inside of you that you need. You're putting that inspiration inside of you. You're feeling it. That's why people should do it.
Well, that's why you I look forward to mine. I would much rather meditate than work out. Like, working out's fun after the fact, but meditating, I'm like, oh, this is so good. I just want to stay here forever. So what's step 3? How do we get to the future side?
So here's the deal. You just finished your past visions, and what you did was you primed your mind to believe what you're about to do for your future visions. That's stage 3, future visions. Your eyes are still closed, except now you transition your mental imagery and your feelings and your emotions from past to future dreams. You visually see and feel those future moments in time. So what I'm saying is, I want you to go like this tomorrow morning. If you want to try this, Jaime, do step 1 and step 2, and then jump into future visions, exactly how you intend your day to go. Go to that moment of accomplishment. Like, let's say you're picking up your kids, go to that moment where you're giving them a big hug and feel that feeling. Go to that moment where you're rocking out with another podcast or whatever your goal is. Go to the moment that you want to have happened and as if it went perfect, and tap into those emotions as if it went perfect. And then the future moment, it can be anything like that you're excited to achieve, or a moment that you look forward to, or something adventurous or passionate, or a grateful moment, or a goal that you plan on hitting in your life. Like for myself, this morning I did my future visions, and I saw myself rocking out on this podcast, and I felt us just having a blast like we're having right now. And then, yeah. And then I'm writing another book, and I saw jamming out on the keyboard, and I was just having fun with it. And then I have a big show this weekend, and I'm going to sell a ton. And I went to the customers high-fiving me. I actually hear the high five. I feel the happiness. I feel the connection. I hear the where I rip the order off and give them the receipt. And then a couple of days later, I see my name on the top of the leaderboard for my sales industry as the top sales guy for the week. Mm-hmm. So that's just an idea. And then, going even further, I see my program just blowing up, and I'm helping a lot of people. I'm about to have a baby in April.
You are? Congratulations.
Thank you. And I actually see myself with my wife holding my baby. I've actually cried in this section. The better you get at it, yeah. I know it sounds cheesy. Some of your audience might be like, oh, that's really weird. But in the future vision, this is where you're standing in your power pose. This is where your hands are on your side, on your hips. This is where your hands are up in the air. When you do this, your brain releases testosterone and decreases cortisol. Amy Cuddy had a TED Talk on, TED Talks about being in power poses and what it does for us. So you're literally inside your future visions, you're focused on tapping into multiple senses. What do you hear? The objects you see, positive emotions that you feel internally at that moment of success. Is there something you can touch? Is there a moment when you're going to get on stage, like an award, you can hear people clapping, the lights in your face? Is there something you can smell? It should be a multi-sensory endeavor, but when somebody first starts out, it's not going to be. It's going to be vague. It's going to be foggy, and that's fine. But what you want to just get good, you want to try to practice every day, just a little bit and a little bit. And you want to be able to start to tap in the feelings as if you're hitting those goals.
Okay, so you know me, questions. Okay, when I love the idea that you're doing like the day or the week because it feels more tangible, especially to people that haven't done this before. They're like, oh, I can totally imagine that. I mean, I do podcasts all the time or whatever it is. How far out can you go, right? Should you be starting with like the closer to you things that you can totally believe really, really easily and then move to like the I own, you know, this kind of car or whatever it is that you really, really want moving forward? Or is there a trajectory of getting better and better and better and doing different visualizations?
The answer to your question is yes.
Okay.
So basically what I mean by that is you should start off with just the day and the week, because your mind, you know, if you're just new to this, your mind has not formed that mental muscle. And so you want to start with the day and then the week. But then the more that you do it, or if you go to a seminar about this kind of stuff, like I went to Hal Elrod's seminar and John Berghoff just rocked it on a guided visualization, and Tony Robbins and several different seminars. And I've literally been, and to this day, I can do my visualization for the day, for the day, for the week, for the month, a year, 5 years, 10, 20 years. I can now go to the end of my life at my deathbed with my family surrounding me and me feeling at peace. And that's a powerful thing. Most people are terrified of their death, or they don't know what's going to happen, or they're just apathetic to it. But I know for certain it's going to be cool.
See, one of the things that I love about this too, and we can talk about maybe the science behind it, but like everybody pushing outside of their comfort zone. I remember I used to visualize all the time getting on stage in front of lots and lots of people, and I turn like bright red and I shake, which is awesome. Especially at the beginning when I didn't used to do it all the time. And so I'd visualize that over and over and over and over and over again because I just sucked at it so bad, right? And like actually doing a good job. So even simple things like that, it's you getting used to your comfort zone before you even have to get there, let alone the feelings of what that's like. And it's amazing and awesome anyway, right? Is there like science? Is it the science behind it and the feeling that makes a difference, or is it just the visualization? How does the future casting or whatever you call it piece go science-wise?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, you know, anything new that we do can sometimes be a challenge, and that goes with everything. That's a motto I live by. Everything's difficult until it becomes easy.
Yep.
And, you know, you've heard the saying, seeing is believing, and what you focus on expands. Well, the practice of visualization allows you to see and tap into your future. Future casting, seeing what you intend to achieve. And therefore, you start to reprogram your subconscious and allow yourself to believe.
Okay.
Now,
sorry,
there's also, you've heard, I'm not sure if you've heard of the elephant and the ant metaphor. Basically, you have an elephant, this huge elephant, just jungling, you know, walking through the jungle, just ripping over trees, and he's just doing his thing. And then on the back of him, oh, by the way, he's heading north. On the back of him is this tiny little bitty ant. And this ant, she's just doing her thing. She's walking on that elephant's spine. She's heading south. Which direction is the ant actually going?
North. Right?
Yeah, the ant is actually going north. The elephant is our subconscious mind. The ant is our conscious mind. At New Year's, you say, oh, right, I'm going to lose weight this New Year's. I'm going to write that book this New Year's. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z this New Year's. Your conscious mind is saying that. But you have not programmed the roots to believe that. So the first time you wake up and you go to put your shoes on, you're like, oh my God, this sucks. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to write this book. Because here's the deal. Back to nature, when tigers and, you know, crazy things were trying to kill us before we had, you know, electricity and all this, our subconscious mind is designed to keep us safe. Our subconscious mind is designed to keep us comfortable. And when we get out of our comfort zone by programming our subconscious mind through visualization and meditation, we're able to break the barrier of what we believe is possible.
I love this. Okay. And I know we still have more steps, but before we get on to step 4 or phase 4, how much should we prep on the future stuff? Like I have a perfect day that I usually type to visualize. Are we supposed to have like our goals all figured out and like the ideas, or are we just coming up with it and then trying to make it better while we're visualizing?
So that's a great question. There's a book called The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. And it's an amazing book, and it teaches you how to make a dream list that has multiple categories. And I also put it in my book, like, because if somebody just wants to get it all in one book, but I made my own variety of it. And so we have the category intellectual, spiritual, emotional, physical, financial, psychological, and there's several others. I'm just going off the top of my head. So you write down like 3 goals for your intellectual. All right, I want to read 6 books this year. 3 goals for financial. All right, I want to save 60 grand this year. 3 goals for material. All right, I want to build a patio. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. And you break down your goals. And then what I recommend is everybody make a dream board. Dream board sounds kind of cheesy, but they're really cool. I mean, I have one in my office and I see it every day of what my why is. I start to believe that, okay, I'm just going to keep taking action and I'm going to get that.
Can you take a picture of it so we can post it too? Because I always want to see what people's look like. I feel like that's all intangible stuff.
For sure. I absolutely will. I'm going to have to send it to you though.
Yes.
Is that cool?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So what I'm saying is, what was the question? Oh yeah. So the question was like, how much time do we have to prep for it? So if you don't want to read the Dream Manager and you don't want to make a dream board, just write down like 10 things that you really want in your life. Maybe 15 things that you really want in your life. Maybe just 5 things that you really want in your life. And then when you're doing your visualization, go to the first one and hold it. Hold it. I mean, go there and feel it. Like, know that it's yours. And then go to the next one and do the same thing, and the next one and the next one.
Yeah, and then that makes so much sense because I need a prompt a lot of times. Like, okay, wait, what is that thing I'm trying to think of? Okay, go. Okay, so what's step 4 then? Or phase 4?
Okay, phase 4 is turn up the frequency. So this one's one of my personal favorite parts. Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, I don't remember their quote off the top of my head, but they said something about, like, they were talking about how everything's energy. And if you want to manifest your reality, you need to, I don't remember the exact quote, but they're talking about like how even our thoughts are energy. And I'll explain more in just a little bit after we're done with this. But your eyes are still closed inside of phase 4, where you're turning up the frequency. Your breathing is still going while you're focused on your future vision. So every time you hit to a future vision, you turn up your emotional dial. Imagine you have a dial on your chest from 1 to 10. 1 is the volume's all the way down. 10 is just bam, it's up there. And what you want, if you're feeling grateful at that future vision and you're maybe at a level 5, you're standing in a power pose, remember? I want you to turn up that dial. You don't have to move your hand or anything, but just act like you're turning up the dial to a 6, a 7, to 8. So you're literally, eyes are closed. You have a bigger smile and a bigger smile, and you're feeling grateful at a level 6, a 7, a 10, as high as you can go, to the point where it's almost exaggerated. And you want to do, like, if you're feeling blessed, intensify that feeling to a level 10 by blasting off that frequency or that energy, and then taking action afterwards. It's hard not to get what you intend. See, although your eyes are closed, your physiology should change when you're doing that. Like, when you're turning up that frequency, you should literally, like, if people walk I have a house maid or whatever who cooks and does everything for us. So they'll walk in our house and I'm in a power pose, just like, and I've got the Gladiator song on, and like, I'm just like, boom, boom, my eyes are closed and my frequency's all the way up to number 10. And I look crazy.
I'm like, I'm sure the look on their face is like, okay, yet, they work for you, so you can't say anything.
But, the brilliant people, they do crazy things. I'm just saying.
I agree.
So, have a huge smile on your face, put your hands on your heart, rock back and forth, really turn up your energy, really turn up those emotions. Whatever that emotion is, try to turn it up. Like water takes the easiest path to wherever it goes. And the thing about energy is all around us. Even our thoughts are energy. And if we can really dial them up and get them all like vibrating super fast, and then we take massive, massive action, I've literally achieved every single one of my goals that I've ever set out to for the last 11 years.
Everyone's like, wait, 100% success rate? Okay, so wait, I have so many questions on this too, because I love this step because, as I said at the beginning, I had an issue with actual feeling emotions. That happens sometimes. My former husband had borderline personality disorder. So I just shut down all of my emotions so that way I could handle that. So I couldn't even feel things, which was not cool. So when I started visualizing, it would just be like numbness. And that's not the point. Like, you're supposed to turn it up emotionally, and I couldn't do that. And so somebody told me to do this exact same thing. Now, I don't picture a dial, but still, to actually think about turning it up. And it's so simplistic, and people will be like, whatever. And it works like times 10. Like, it actually makes you understand what feelings actually feel like in your body. And I call it like inspired action, right? So as soon as I'm done doing that stuff, I literally just want to go work and because I get so many ideas sort of downloading when I'm in that sort of state. And I keep a notepad next to me. I think somebody used to do that and called it neural dreaming. And like, when you're in that state and you can just sort of get all of these ideas, and then those seem to be the ones that just freaking work like crazy. Anyway, I'm getting off topic because I love this side. So tell us what 5 is, so that way we can get your before and afters for all of those successes that you've had for your goals.
Okay, so real quickly though, I want to hit on like how long the turn up the frequency lasts. It should only be a few seconds. Like, I think it's very difficult to turn up the frequency and like be exaggeratingly happy for more than like 5 to 10 seconds.
Good.
So each future, accomplishment, when you're right at that moment of accomplishment, turn it up for, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds. But I can't do it more than that yet.
You'd be like this for a really long period of time. That'd be hilarious.
Exactly. And then stage 5 is tap into the cosmos. Once you get to this phase, you're almost done. Your eyes are still closed like they have been the whole time. You're still breathing like you've been doing in phase 1. You should feel filled with energy. You should feel very relaxed. You should feel very excited. Like those are the feelings you should be feeling at the end of your vision when you're tapping into the cosmos. We are literally just some dust on a rock, like Reverend Sharma says, in this endless galaxy. Well, by doing that little practice, you're ending by tapping into that cosmos, the universe. Try to see nothing but black space. Feel only that vast, infinite space inside of yourself. And you just want to set your intention, being ready to accept any of those blessings which you intended to come your way. I say to myself, I'm ready to receive these dreams. I'm ready, or I'm grateful for what's coming my way. And then I tap into I believe I'm tapping into the Creator's power. And I do this for as long as I like. And I try to really hold on to gratitude in this last phase. Just gratitude, acceptance, and just know that it's going to come my way. And then after that, I go out and bust my butt.
Yes, because action does actually matter also. You can't just lay in bed all day and do nothing and visualize, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I practice visualization every day. I see my future as I intend it to be every day. And the key, like you said, it's to take massive action.
I think that's where a lot of people talk about the secret, but that's where there was lacking. It was like, oh, just think about it and it'll be here. And people are like, you kind of have to do stuff. But to me, it's inspired. Like, I want to do this. I feel compelled. It's not stuff where you're like, oh, I feel like I have to do this stuff. This sucks. It's very, very different. I know. Do you know of any? So I use guided meditations for a lot of different pieces. Like I told you, I'm going to see Joe Dispenza, who wrote a book called You Are the Placebo, for a meditation retreat. I leave tomorrow, actually. Well, I know this video is coming out later, but what he does very similarly, especially at the end and tapping into the cosmos. But I feel like I need somebody walking me through that instead of me just trying to go, okay, how many minutes is that? Okay, great. And then next is going to be this. And then do you have any guided meditations or anything that you can refer us to for somebody to get walked through a little bit easier on these pieces?
Yeah, I do have one in Visions to the Top. I have a guided meditation, a guided visualization as well. Now, as far as guided visualizations, I don't know where you can find them. I'm sure you could find them on the internet. I just made my own. And what I recommend is just, put that song on, put Gladiator song on tomorrow morning. on your phone, put it on speaker, and do the one without the words. It's like 8 minutes, 19 seconds.
Okay.
Just sit there with your spine erect or stand and go through being, past visions, future visions, and go through it fast, or go through it as slow as you like. It doesn't matter, but just get in the habit of doing that. I mean, the top most successful people, some of them, they attribute their success to meditation and visualization. And for someone to say, oh, that just sounds silly, I don't want to do that. That's like turning a cup upside down and you can't pour any water in that cup. Mm. When you turn that cup upright, you can put more in it. And that's what I'm saying. Before knocking it, try it.
Yeah, I'm a testimonial for it. Like, even I meditate every day, and the days that I don't, my kids go, Mom, did you meditate today? And I'm like, I didn't. Okay, you can tell. Awesome. That's great. But even my whole personality in general is just way more calm and less frustrated when you have a chance to really pay attention to what matters, I think, in the beginning of your day. Okay, so let's go into your before and afters, because this is the thing where this is where the secret everybody got super excited for, right? Every business owner wants to be told you can have anything you want. Yay, great. And easily, not pain in the butt. Oh my gosh, this sucks. Not quote unquote easily, but you know what I mean. So give me sort of the before and after and how it actually came to being. So that way it feels less woo-woo and more specific. Does that make sense?
Yeah, based on my results in my life?
Yeah, and you.
Okay, so my first time trying this was back when I was 21 is when I went to the Tony Robbins seminar. And I learned about it, I started practicing it, and I intended that I would sell over 225 for the year and win a Rolex. And I intended to do it just real part-time. And that's exactly what happened. I worked real part-time. Before every appointment, I'd do like a quick, just minute visualization. And, I have huge orders. Like, I'm the number one guy in my division for 11 years straight. Praise be to the creator. I'm not like bragging or anything. I just feel blessed, but I attribute it to visualization. So that's one result.
Question on that. So were you a good sales, because that's the other piece. Would you have been successful anyway without the visualization? Do you know what I mean? In that specific instance.
I believe I would have been successful. I have a mentee that I'm training, and he's been kind of struggling, in sales for the longest time. But I've been kind of putting this spiritual aspect to him because we're just spiritual beings going through a physical reality. And I started to have these conversations. And he said to me the other day, I'm really starting to see the importance of taking care of my spirit and doing my practice in the morning. Things are coming to me easier. And he said that to me, and I was like, wow, I never thought this guy would have ever said that to me. Another great example is my first year, over 10 years ago, I went to Costa Rica and I fell in love with the place. I said, I want to own a piece of property here one day. So I put it on my dream board, get a steal of a deal. And I put a big piece of property, and I went several years later and I was visualizing on it every so often, planting that seed and watering it. And what happened was I went back, a realtor showed us a couple properties. They're way too jungly. We didn't want them. And then another realtor showed me another one, and we told him our budget was like 50 grand. And he showed us right around that number. And then we went to another realtor, and this guy, he was a real deal closer. He showed us properties that were 150, 200, 250, $300,000. And I was like, all right, let's go, show me what you got, whatever. And we're up at the top of the mountain, and we get to this piece of property, and I just get this feeling okay, this is cool. I like this. There's mayo trees, which are these yellow trees that blossom year round, and it just smells amazing. There's mango trees and avocado trees on this piece of property. Down looking the valley, the clouds are below us. So we're literally looking at the clouds. And I said, okay, I want to put an offer on this for 50 grand. And it was 200,000 around that number. And he said, okay, whatever, sure. And the guy came back, the seller was in a bind, needed money, came back at over 100. We said, we'll do 60. And then long story short, we got the deal, steal of a deal. We got it for around $70,000. And that's just another example. My friend Lisa and Trevor, they put on their dream board a photo of Hawaii, and they wrote some text about have a magical marriage moment or something. They wanted a really good moment for their marriage. And they were in Hawaii, and they were planning on taking photos at this place, but the guy said, hey, the sun's not good here. We can't do photos here. we're going to have to go over here. And then Trevor's he's like a Goldilocks, got long hair. He's like, no, dude, it's got to be perfect. He's like super, lush skin, like, and he's like, well, then the photographer like, hey, why don't we go to this place? And he showed him a photo, and it happened to be the exact same photo that they've had on their vision board for years.
That's what you hear about in movies and stuff. Okay.
And I mean, that's just another example. You can call it what you want to call it. I just call it like, I know what I want, I intend it, and I bust my butt for it, and then I get what I want. Whatever other people want to call it, it's up to them. But I think when we have certainty and we have a vision and we can tap into that vision, we like lay a pathway towards that end goal.
Yeah, and our subconscious and our brain can figure it out even when it's not necessarily us trying to. Because I feel like that's what we do as business owners. We're like, and I solve the problems, and I have to solve everything because it's all up to me, and I need the control, right? And sometimes just sort of having it out there, and like you said, it's not like you have to bring it up every single day, especially for that piece of property. You did it once in a while. It wasn't like, and then I need this now, go, right? You're just sort of seeding it. Because that's what we do as entrepreneurs. We're like, oh, if I'm supposed to visualize, I'm going to do this thing every single day like I'm supposed to. And then they get frustrated after, 2 months or whatever. And then we don't do it anymore. And I want to make sure that this is something that people understand, that it's an evolutionary process of getting better and actually enjoying the process of it instead of just going, I do this to get the result. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a process. Should be like a ritual that is for enjoyment. It's not for, yes, you want to get the result, and I do it for the result. But now I'm at the point where I do it because if I don't do it, I'm cranky and I'm upset and I just don't feel right. I feel foggy and I don't feel like calm and chill and relaxed. But now I do it because it feels really good. And there's a lot of science behind, what meditation or visualization does to the brain, to the body. It slows us down. It makes us more, like I said, chill.
Which is great for us crazy entrepreneurs. We really, really need that. So everybody, I work with most of them. I'm like, dude, you got to meditate. I can't chat with you anymore. You have to let's take it now. I'm one of them too, so I can't really say anything, but that's why I do it. Cause I know myself and I get way too in my head. And sometimes you just need to bring it back down to earth a little bit. So you can accomplish the stuff that you really want. Cause that's sort of what we're here. We want to have the best feelings while we're here. Because why not? Why wouldn't we? And we might as well have the stuff too. That's sort of the whole point of my show, right? We might as well have it all as best as humanly possible. I know we have to start wrapping up. So I'm going to ask you, what is the one thing listeners can take this week? And I think I know what you're going to say, but one thing listeners can take this week to help move them forward towards their goal of $1 million.
I'd definitely say the one thing that listeners need to do this week is they need to start visualizing. They need to start practicing this ritual, whether it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes, or you'll eventually start to love it. It's like working out, the endorphins that you get from working out. I don't know what you get actually you get serotonin. You get a sense of connection when you do visualization. It's a sense of connection that your brain releases. So I highly recommend visualizing, and that's what I recommend because it works for me.
How long, because I know you're friends with Hal, and when Hal came on the show, he's like, commit to 30 days. How long should we actually commit to it when it's feeling crappy in order to start feeling like it might be a good thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say for me, I know it's got to be at least 60 days. Like if I've got a new goal that I'm working on, and that might be crazy to your audience, so just go with 30. But if you are somebody who's using visualization, maybe you just go with 60, because it takes some time to reprogram our subconscious mind to believe what we want it to believe and to crush those doubts or those little voices.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So where can we get that book again so everybody can make sure that they can follow along instead of just re-listening to this interview 17 times? They have a book to go by.
Absolutely. It's visionstothetop.com is where you can get a bunch of free chapters and some cool stuff. If you want to just get the book, it's visionstothetopbook.com.
Thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it.
Jaime, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that interview. And if you want to check out more amazing resources, I'm only curating the best of the best. Go check out eventualmillionaire.com. You can take the Eventual Millionaire quiz, figure out where you are in business and what you need right now. Plus, you can look at curated resources specifically for you on the new Start Here page. I'm so excited. Please join us. Please let me know if you need anything at all. I'm here for you. And have a fantastic day. Bye.